Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Live from the Chair with Big Money Exchange. Tonight, I'm not even going to talk and give this gentleman the proper introduction that he needs because he is a lying, cheating thief who stole property that does not belong to him. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The title does not lie, and neither does the man because he admitted it before we came on air. But, that's enough of my breath being wasted on him. Nathan, fucking take it away.
So, thank you. From a man who's dressed like a combination of the Kool-Aid Man and Where's Waldo. Mr. Kris Marx, thank you so much for being on tonight. And, ladies and gentlemen, this is the man who will be, as of this Saturday, the brand new CPW Heavyweight Champion.
That's right. Glad to be here.
So, can you tell us who some of your wrestling heroes were growing up?
Sure, yeah. I was always a fan of guys like the Big Boss Man, and I liked guys like Tatanka. Oftentimes my dad, when we would go to shows, had a hard time getting me merch from the guys that I liked because they weren't the most popular on the roster. But I think as you go throughout the years, they've been seen for the greatness that they were. I don't think anybody would tell you at all that Big Boss Man wasn't a legend or an icon. He's in the Hall of Fame for a reason. Wore a lot of Big Boss Man t-shirts at the merch table when I was a kid. But I like guys like him and IRS, and I idolize Shawn Michaels. I know that's breaking the trend that I just set, but I idolize Shawn Michaels as a kid as well. I think he's the greatest of all time.
I can't argue with that.
Hard to.
Hey, Tony, you got a question?
I don't know if it's worth my breath, so I don't know. But, I guess if you pull my arm enough, I guess I could. Let's see here. Let's go top 5 tag teams of all time.
Top 5 tag teams of all time. Well, I think that the Rockers kind of changed things when they were a tag team. You didn't see a lot of that style at the time, and when they came on the scene, not only did you see more tag teams like that, but you got to see more individual wrestlers like that as well. So the first team that came to mind thinking about what teams did I idolize as a kid, what teams did I look up to as a kid, I'd say the Rockers were there. But again, that's more than likely because of Shawn Michaels. I loved the Legion of Doom. Heart Foundation was fantastic. I loved Money Inc. It's current, it's whatever, it's controversial. I don't know. FTR is fantastic. I love FTR.
I completely agree with that. So, you wrestled Chris Ryzek at NWP. I think it was around Christmas time because they were both either that or they just like Santa.
No, sure. I've wrestled Ryzek several times actually, but I did wrestle him for Northwest Pro around Christmas time a year ago. Yeah,
that was a very good match. I actually watched that match today for research purposes.
I appreciate it.
Can you tell us a little bit about because in that match you were a face, and I particularly liked at the end when you kind of slid into the chair next to the lady after you won.
Well, see, occasionally I work in front of a crowd that has a brain in their head and realizes the greatness that I put out in the ring. Unfortunately, when I wrestle for CPW, everybody seems to like hill people that swale from a moonshine jug more than somebody that's actually putting their body on the line and defending titles during a pandemic that apparently he can't get around to defend a title during and things like that. When I wrestled Ryzek at Christmas a year ago for Northwest Pro, the fans were on my side. And when I have an intelligent audience that isn't full of a bunch of inbred hill people, I will occasionally slide out and join them in their reverie of my greatness.
Very nice.
Man, there was sure a lot of hatred talk towards a certain hillbilly. You know,
Hey.
I mean, he is the true CPW champion after all.
But
You
see,
know,
do we really know
Shut up,
that, or
Mr.
was
Moss,
he
I'm
too
not
drunk
finished.
off of the? Sorry.
You cut me off again. I cut this interview. Do you understand me, you little puke?
No, I don't.
All right. You know what? I don't care anymore. You just go ahead and ask the questions, Mr. Noss. I'm so over this.
No, please. Enlighten us with your Team Yvonne knowledge.
I shouldn't have to enlighten anybody about our Team Yvonne Long. You know what? Maybe I should just bring in my guest.
Yeah, if he can pull himself away from the moonshine jug long enough.
You know, I mean, the guest that, you know, is the true champion.
Irrelevant.
You know, and
You keep forgetting that word.
He probably didn't get to defend the title during the pandemic because maybe he has a real job and a family to support.
So you're saying he does this as a side gig, as a part-time deal, that he doesn't take his championship reign or his competitiveness in the ring seriously. Makes sense.
What he did say at one point during the interview that we had him on that he got wheeled out on a toilet. So, I mean, if that...
Sounds about right.
Yeah, you know, that's fine. Let's do the top 5 indie wrestlers of all time. And then I'll be right back.
I mean, he means other than me 5 times, right?
Right. Well, you can put yourself on there, right? Like, I mean, obviously.
I mean, a list of top 5 indie wrestlers would be so hard to name. A lot of indie greats have become not indie names anymore. So, you know, where do you even draw that defining line anymore? Obviously, Bryan Danielson's fantastic. He's from my area. I've been at an arena or backstage for several of his big moments in our area. So he was a fantastic name on the indies when he was on the indies. I followed Finn Balor quite aggressively before he was a name in the United States. I love Jay White. Jay White's a phenomenal talent, and now he's not an indie name anymore. Now he's on a mainstream show. So again, it's difficult to name a top 5 indie names unless you have a defining line between currently on the indies or was ever in the indies. But any name that would be on that list, eventually you would hope would get to a mainstream show anyway. So,
Right. So why don't we stream that a little bit and say top 5 in the Northwest?
Top 5 in the Northwest. You are trying to get me in trouble in locker rooms, aren't you?
No, honestly, I'm not. I just kind of want to give people an idea of who to like watch out for.
Sure. I'm not going to put a top 5 in the Pacific Northwest in any kind of numerical order. I'm not going to play favorites or anything like that. If I'm speaking from the heart, people that I've worked with, people that I really enjoy being around. And before I answer the question, I'm going to include Alaska. Some people don't include Alaska in the Pacific Northwest, but I do.
Okay.
So I would put both Burt Ringo and Gentleman Jack probably on the list. And then let's see. Most people know this. It's not going to come as a big surprise. I was trained by JD Mason. I think JD Mason is one of the best indie performers in the area. And you know, the guy's knowledge is unmatched. You know, you can ask him anything and he'll have you know, not just a story but an answer for you. We've got a lot of great talent around here. It's so hard to give you a top 5. Funny Bone is fantastic. You know, he's done some CPW shows, seen some of his work. He's very good. yeah, I don't know.
Hey,
Narrow
that's a pretty good
it
plan.
down is tough. I've worked with a lot of really great people around here. So,
All right, Tony, you're up.
Yeah, you see, he couldn't even give you 5 independent in this area. I mean, come on, Nos. And this is the man you're going to root for on Saturday?
well,
He's
like
gonna
I said
be the
when you asked the
champion.
question in the first place, the real answer to that question is my name 5 times.
Exactly.
I don't need to answer it any other way than that.
So he's stuck on himself, too. Not only does he steal property, but he's stuck on himself, too.
Because wrestling is a business of small character and no ego, correct?
That's what I've heard.
Well, okay, fine. Maybe that's the truth. So what's the worst injury you've had in your career so far?
Worst injury in my career. Well, I tweaked a rotator cuff that bothered me for a little bit. I've been really fortunate and haven't had really any injuries at all. I was just lamenting about that just recently with somebody. I came into coming back to wrestling. The very first training session I ever had, the very first exposure I had to wrestling was in 2004. I had a lengthy military career that caused me to start and stop several times. I fully committed back to wrestling in 2015. Unfortunately, as I came back in 2015 and really started training and really started getting into the craft, I brought with me an injury from the military where I have actually ripped the meniscus off the bone in my left knee on both sides of the kneecap. That is a very unpleasant injury. I've seen it happen in the ring. I've seen quad injuries that result in meniscal injuries as well. It's very unpleasant. So I'd say that's probably the worst injury I've had that relates to wrestling because I do have to deal with that from time to time when I'm working. But as far as in the ring, I've had a couple little bumps, bruises. JD Mason's put me through barbed wire table once or twice. But as far as in-ring injuries, I've been pretty fortunate.
So, for the viewers who don't know, what sets CPW apart from, like, any other promotion?
It's something you're going to find in a lot of promotions out in the Pacific Northwest, and it's passion. Everybody that participates with the company is very passionate about what they do. They're all very dedicated to the show. People show up early, people stay late. There's a very good family atmosphere in the locker room. CPW does have some individual things that set it apart from other companies. The grappling division, for example, it's not something I've ever stepped foot dipped my toe into the pool of, but there is a grappling division, a grappling title. We have some very talented guys that work in that. It's the passion that everybody shows in the locker room and how dedicated everybody is to what we do.
Very nice.
Okay. I kind of got to respect the guy a little bit. He's a military vet, just a little bit, and sometimes bad guys are cool. But, again, I just can't get over a thief who steals property that does not belong to him. I mean,
it's not stealing if he's gonna have it in less than 4 days.
Well,
let's address the elephant in the room. Okay, you want to talk about this? Let's talk about this. Okay, let's talk about it. The reason I took it in the first place is the man is an irrelevant champion. Doesn't defend the belt. The one time he stepped up to the plate, I challenged him to a champion versus champion match. He shows up to the match. We have the match. Hasn't been back since. He's using this concussion protocol and his knee injury and all this other stuff to explain why he hasn't been around. If he's such a great champion, if he's such the leader in the locker room and the figurehead of the company, where has he been? I've been to every show since that match, save one. Where's he been?
See,
I defended this title 13 times during the pandemic. 13. 13 times in 3 states. What was he doing? Where was he? Where was the CPW representation during the pandemic from our champion, the top tier champion in the company that you think is so great? I've wronged him so much by taking away the symbol of what he doesn't deserve to claim. Where was he?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I can't speak for the man because I'm not the man. But, maybe if we give him a few minutes, maybe the man might show up to rebuttal your said facts, sir.
Would it be the first time since I took the belt from him in the first place? So,
and people should be thanking this man and maybe even giving this man a separate award for giving them a champion every show. Right? He could have sat back and let the so-called champion not defend his title and go off into the sunset. But this man stepped up and, like he said, carried CPW with that belt and made sure that those fans had a champion that they could be proud of.
And that's why I claim the longest reigning international champion of all time. A lot of people point out a lot of champions in the company have been a champion at about the same time you were. JB Moonshine has had his title about as long as I have. I dare any of them to put up their defense record of their title against mine and tell me that they deserve that title more than I do.
Absolutely. So now do you have a question?
Oh, my question will be coming here in just a couple minutes. Why don't you go ahead and carry the interview until my question gets here? Oh, never mind. Hold that fact.
Wow, he showed up. I'm surprised.
Yeah, he lives.
Good evening, Mr. Moonshine. How are you? Maybe we can maybe we can have a real champion in this room.
You got a real champion in the room. Who's got the belt?
Just because you got the belt don't make you the champion. Just like that belt that you had right there.
This belt makes me this champion. Where's yours?
I'll get mine. June 17th. I'll get it back. Just because you have it doesn't make you heavyweight champion. One of these days, kid, one of these days you might hold a big boy belt, but it won't be today and it won't be mine.
See, that's why I said at the beginning of the show, you asked me where the belt was, and I told you. I don't walk around falsely claiming to be something I'm not. I took it because he's irrelevant and he doesn't deserve to have it. I didn't take it to pretend I'm something I'm not. On Saturday, I'll be everything I want to be, and I'll have what I want to have.
And for that to happen, you got to at least beat this hillbilly. And in the record or any of the counts, how many victories do you have over me in the amount of times that we've been in the ring?
Fast doesn't matter, pal.
I think that goes on my favor right there.
It only matters when the belt's on the line. It's the only time it matters.
As long as I know.
You can build a hill, but if you fall off the top of it, it just makes you a hill person.
Titles is one thing, but I like the numbers on victories. When I see them in double digits or going up higher, I mean, that goes a little bit more than just having a title around my waist. I don't have to be a champion or have a belt around my waist for everybody to know who this hillbilly is. You say my name, they start chanting.
Well, the support of the other hill people in the audience is very important to me, let me tell you.
And there ain't going to be no shenanigans. This time I'm going to have my family. I mean, there's going to be people watching. This is going to be a one-on-one. I don't need none of your cronies, none of your friends, or whoever you promised. This is one-on-one. You versus me. We are going to find out for once who is the better champion of CPW.
Well, I hope you have an extra large moonshine jug to cry into after that match is over with when you find out the answer to that question.
I just hope that you ain't gonna freaking die under that mask after I beat you. 1, 2, 3.
Fantasy world. You're living in a moonshine, booze-induced fantasy world.
Maybe, but we'll see. We'll see. As far as I know, I've held and gone from up and down I-5, taking names left and right. Chris Marx is just another stepping stone in my way.
Keep thinking that, pal. Keep thinking that. What happened the last time you thought that way? You ended up not showing up for 3 months because you had a concussion.
And let's see, because somebody was afraid of feeling the slop drop for, like, I don't know, the fourth or fifth time that I've given it to you, decide that, oh, I'm going to kick him in the nuts and then hit me in the head with a frying pan. That really shows a champion.
Sounds like excuses to me.
So let me ask you this, Mr. Moonshine. Are any of those victories that you claimed earlier confirmed, or are you just so drunk that you're seeing double on the page, first of all? Second of all, is the reason that you do the slop drop because you got so hammered on this so-called moonshine that you just fall backwards?
Oh, no, it's all the slop drop because everybody's going to feel the slop.
And how dare you talk about my guest that way, Mr. Nas? Shame, shame, shame on you.
I gotta speak the truth.
Well, why don't you ask Chris March there? I'm pretty sure that he remembers every match that I've beaten him, put him through a table, barbed wire, ladders. I'm pretty sure he has a lot of marks, and most of those are probably due to this hillbilly. And he wants to step up now.
Listen, I will give the inebriated devil his due, okay? You and I have a past, and yes, you have beaten me a couple of times. That's what happens when you come up through the ranks and get to a point of greatness. When it mattered, when it was champion versus champion, did you get the job done, or did you leave the building with the assistance of your cousins because you couldn't stand on your own 2 feet?
Yeah, I tried to stand on my own 2 feet, but I would get dues where they are. A little bit was because I was drunk. I mean, some of it was you, but a little bit of it was drunk. So, I mean, you can't really say that I couldn't get back up on my feet because of you. I mean, every bar fight, everything that we've gone through, I beat you. Like last time, it was going to be in a bar. I was going to beat you, and then you cheated. You were going good when you were a good guy. Now because you got a title around your waist, and now you just think that you're just gonna kick everybody in the dick.
Listen to these excuses. Oh, he cheated. He did this. He did that. Oh, it's so sad. Is that what you're gonna say on Sunday? You're gonna wake up on Sunday morning with 12 pounds less in your gear bag and be like, "Oh, he cheated. That's why he's not a champion anymore."
If you just beat me 1, 2, 3, I will shake your hand in the middle of the ring. But the fact is, though, is you've never been able to beat me fair or square. And the only time you've had me down was still not fair and square. So, I mean, if you'd beat me, I would shake your hand. But all my money is on me. And I'm pretty sure a lot of fans are, too.
So you're talking about fair and square, but didn't you say when you first came on that you're having your whole family come to this match and watch your back?
I didn't say that.
For what purpose? Because Mr. Marx has never said he's bringing anybody with him.
I didn't say that they'd be at the ring. I'm just saying that I have eyes where they need to be. Because I don't trust him.
The amount of moonshine the man drinks, he's probably he's got nine eyes of his own.
I can't trust somebody that I can't see, and into that mask, I don't trust him. I mean, his mom doesn't trust him. I mean, he probably scares the dog. I mean, I don't trust him.
But again, you drink so much moonshine, that's probably why you can't see him in the first place.
Whoa.
That could be. It has caused a couple people to go blind sometimes. I mean, everybody's had it before. I mean, it's pretty potent.
Well, that goes
I
back to
mean-
the turpentine statement that we made
I mean,
earlier
the only
before
time I've
you
ever
came on.
enjoyed his moonshine is when I was taking the paint off my boat with it.
I think we need to let Mr. Marx remark to the mom. I mean, because that was a low blow even in my book.
He's just mad because nobody likes him.
Oh yeah,
Even
that just
even
breaks my heart. Every time I walk out, I'm so sad that everybody's so upset that I'm there. I couldn't give a crap less whether people like me or not. This is what matters. This is what pays the bills. This is what gets me on podcasts that you get invited to because you're not relevant enough to be the guest in the first place.
No. I'm so irrelevant. I can't even talk about. I'm so irrelevant that they asked me to come back and put you in your place. Yeah, I'm so irrelevant that I go places and I don't have to be on a podcast for people to know who JB Moonshine is. Kris Marx, who?
The only
You can
reason
find out
you're
who Kris Marx
relevant.
is on Saturday. See, it's gonna be Kris Marx, brand new CPW champion, the person that beat JB Moonshine and took him out of his irrelevant title reign.
I am the longest and reigning defending CPW heavyweight champion.
Let's hear the list. Who have you defended against?
I've defended against. Actually, I haven't defended it in a couple months. So
Look how long it takes them to figure it out. Look
I've
how
had-
long it takes them to figure it out.
I beat CJ Edwards for it. I wrestled Dean Cooper and beat him multiple times on it. I've ridden. I've got buttons where I've ridden. I beat an SP8. I beat and ridden. I mean, the list goes down of who people I've beaten. And stuff. I mean, I've even had handicap matches just like you did. Also, I mean, you think they're all big, bad, and strong, but you still can't beat me.
I guess we're gonna find out on Saturday.
But how could you say he can't beat you when you didn't show up for like 3 months with a supposed concussion to give him a shot at the belt?
Have you ever been hit in the back of the head or the back of the neck with a cast iron frying pan? Have you? Then you'd be wondering why I haven't been there in the last 2 months.
I don't put myself in positions like that. I
You
show
put-
up, defend my belt when I'm asked to.
Oh God! Strawberry Fest, June 17th. You are going to get a hillbilly ass whooping. I'm. Nobody's going to get the ass whooping that I'm going to give to you. I mean, you got under my skin so bad. If this is what you want, a fight, this is what you're going to get. Because yes.
Yeah. That's what he's been asking for from the beginning, am I right? Like, all you wanted to do is fight him for the belt.
It's not complicated.
You took my title and I want it bad. And if I have to beat you to get it bad, if you want a title shot that bad, I will give it to you. You can have the title shot. I will give it to you and stuff. And you have to beat me in the ring. 1, 2, 3. Something that we haven't done in a few months.
That's not my
yeah.
fault. I've been available.
Yeah. Well.
And technically, does he have to give you the title shot when it's already going to happen?
That wasn't. Listen, they've been advertising it as a title match. That wasn't confirmed. He hasn't been there to sign a contract.
I have not.
While it's been advertised that he's going to be there, while it's being advertised that it's a title match, the man hasn't signed a contract, and God knows whether he's going to actually show up on Saturday or not. So if he shows up, I accept the title match. I will meet you in the ring. I will beat you, and I will take your title legitimately, something you would know nothing about. Thank you for offering it.
Yvonne asked me if I wanted a title match, and I said, you didn't deserve a title shot. You stole the belt, this and that. But this needs to be settled once and for all.
On that,
And if this is what it's going to take, a title shot to get you out of my hillbilly freaking face, then fine, I will beat you again, and my title will be online.
Well, from a person that's been watching wrestling for over 30 years, I can guarantee you one thing will happen Saturday. You'll be a little bit lighter when you leave Strawberry Fest.
Oh no!
It
Oh
won't
no!
be just the boozy sweats out either.
Exactly.
Just think this. Don't count this underdog out. Everybody thinks that this hillbilly can't fight or this hillbilly can't do it. Don't count this underdog out. I'll prove everybody wrong.
You know, Tony, for this being your guest, you're awful quiet up there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm busy booking the show. You know, I'm busy booking other guests. I mean, JB's doing just fine on his own. You know.
What, talking himself around in a corner? He circled this house more times than an airplane circles an airport.
You know, why don't you conduct the interview with Mr. Marx while Mr. JB is here? I mean, why don't you do your job, Nos? Or do I have to get big money on here to really take over the podcast? Because we all know he took over your podcast from you.
I allowed him to take over this podcast. Thank you very much. So, Mr. Mark, sir, if you could book one match for yourself with a dream opponent, who would it be and why?
Are we talking current?
Any generation, like any.
Well, I'd love to take on Ray Trailer. Then the Big Boss Man, Big Bubba, whatever you want to call him. I idolized him as a kid. I try to model a lot of what I do now after him. It'd be Ray Trailer.
Very nice. Tony, you got a question?
I'm gonna guess JB's answer to that would be a Godwin.
But
those are probably kinfolk, and he's probably fought them already anyway. They're all related anyway, so.
Funny. No, that would be an honor. Would be the Godwins or Hillbilly Jim. I got the honor in another podcast that I was on, Kris. Yeah, me. I was able to actually have an interview with Henry Godwin, and that was like one of my highlights. That was cool. Yeah, Kris, another podcast.
Aim high, man. Talk to another hillbilly. Aim high.
Yeah, that's great. Aim high to a guy whose claim to fame, other than being with his brother, was wrestling in a hog pen match.
So
it makes sense. The Godwins carried shit around in a bucket, and JB. Maybe I won't finish that one. I won't finish. I'll be nicer.
So
the Godwins are the Godwins is where I got the name Slop Chop from. And stuff, when I was talking to him and stuff like that, he gave me permission that, you know. But yeah, I named it after their slop chop when they did it in WWE.
So why don't we see how Mr. Marx is as a booker, Mr. Nos? Why don't we let him book his own WrestleMania show? Any generation, anybody involved, what would be your matches?
That's an awful on the spot question. Well, I'd love to see like a triple threat between somebody like Boss Man and Samoa Joe and Keith Lee. I think that would be an amazing way to start the show. They were all big men that were faster than they look. You know, at first glance, you don't expect them to move like they can. I think the three of them could put together a hell of an opening contest. As far as a tag team match, I mean, how the hell could you go wrong putting FTR and the Hart Foundation against each other, or maybe the Midnight Express? A whole Mania card stuff. I mean, what is that, like 30 matches now? It's 2 nights.
So we could go with like 6.
If I was put, you got to throw the women in there. The women deserve their time in the spotlight as well. I'd love to see somebody like an in her prime Victoria wrestling in her prime Becky Lynch. I'd love to see in her prime Molly Holly take on an in her prime Toni Storm. Those would be entertaining. I wanted to see AJ and Paige when they were both in WWE and both kind of at the top of their game. I wanted to see that go further, and it never really did for backstage reasons, whatever. Main event time. Love to see a Shawn Michaels versus a Jay White. I'd love to see a Kenny Omega versus a Triple H, Clash of Styles type match. As far as like big character based matches go, I'd love to see maybe The Rock and MJF. That obviously have to be a babyface Rock. His heel work was fantastic. The music was better when he was a heel, but you want to talk about crowd energy, it was always when he was a babyface. So him and MJF would probably melt the building's roof off. So that would be entertaining. But yeah, stuff like that.
I would make one exception on Chris's there. It's okay there, but the Shawn Michaels, if I could, I would rather have seen the Shawn Michaels in his prime when the Grayson Waller thing actually happened.
Sure.
I think the Grayson Waller and the Shawn Michaels thing, when he's in his prime, I think that would have been a great match. But that and I would have done like the Bam Bam Bigelow, Boss Man, and Yokozuna in a triple threat. But the ring would have to be really, really supported. But besides that, not too bad there for the Diamond to get my belt back.
All right, Mr. Nosh, your question, bud.
So, what advice what's the best advice that your trainer gave you, and do you still use that advice today?
Everybody's an example, positive or negative. So no matter who you work with, no matter what you see, no matter what you observe, be it in a locker room, while you're in the ring with somebody, while you're watching somebody ply their trade, everybody's an example to follow, whether it be to follow it or do not follow it.
Very good advice.
Best thing that my trainer ever told me was to keep my mouth shut and my ears open.
I wish you'd work on that first part more.
Yeah, but that was, back then. I've been in a while, so yeah. I think
too much of that moonshine.
We're aware that you're a dinosaur. We're aware.
I mean, I recall. Let's see, how many years do you have compared to how many years that I got? Yeah.
Are we really gonna have the youth versus experience conversation right now? Is that what we're gonna do?
Maybe experience.
I think the better question would be: does he even remember how many years he has?
Oh, it's all over. It's always online. I know exactly how many years.
But see, that's not the question. Do you specifically remember how many years you've been in the wrestling business?
Yes, I do. I've been doing this for 20 years.
Wow, I'm impressed.
I've been doing this since I was 24. Not a lot of people realize that I had that much experience, but yes, experience always wins.
So let's move on and let's take that one step further. What advice would you give a up and coming wrestler, Mr. Marx?
I'd have to give him the same answer that I gave when it came to the best advice I've gotten. Everybody is an example, whether it's positive or negative. I think that a lot of people come into the business with this grandiose idea of what it can be. Everybody wants to have the story that you're going to see one day just before the WrestleMania main event about how they started from nothing and came up through the indies and all this other stuff. And I mean, the reality of it is that what we do involves a lot of ego, a lot of personality, and a lot of drama sometimes. And that's not just in the ring, but it's in the locker room too.
A lot of
So
it. You gotta have
anybody
thick
that
skin.
I meet that's new to the business, that's starting to train, that's trying to get their feet wet, I try to tell them the same thing, and it's don't get jaded. If you love it, and don't let somebody take that love away from you because of their ego or what their spot is or what they think the business should be. Don't get jaded. Follow your passion, put it in the ring, put it into your training, do the right things.
Nice.
With me, since I'm talking about experience and I've been doing this for a while, I've always thought that I always had a thing like I think I'm like one of the old school or like last of the old school brand because I've been coming in and seeing all these young guys and I have no problem because I'm about ready to be gone. So I mean I'm trying to let
I can help
these
you with
guys
that on
come in.
Saturday.
Yeah, we'll see about that. We'll see about that. I'll still be wrestling past you. But I'm saying that I see all these other guys and it's like they come into the ring and they also have egos or they have like they think they're the best or this and that and the whole idea is that you go in there, you go to training, you go and travel places, you bring your gear bag because if they need you need to be ready. But you go around and you go and help out, bring crew, do what you gotta do, and this and that. I've seen people that's been in here like less than a year or two also just come in, sit down, start talking, chilling, and doing whatever because they're a wrestler or they think they're all badass or this and that. And no, you got to put in the work. I mean, it's already bad enough that everybody tries to say that what we do is fake. It might be predetermined or whatever, but it's not fake what we do. It hurts. I get slammed. He hit me in the back of the head with that frying pan. That wasn't fake. It took me out 2 months. It hurts. And so then I'm tired of just people thinking I want my when I'm out of here I want what I've done to mean something. I want the business to keep on growing, not just people just come in here and think that I just want to be a celebrity or. It's just getting ridiculous on how some of these young guys come in. I mean, when I came in, you had to put in the work. You trained. You did what you had to do. You don't come into the building and just sit down and put your feet up. You don't have people carrying your bags in. We're not WWE. I mean, it gets really annoying to watch some of these young guys and like I don't know where they learn it from. If it's the people they're watching, if it's their trainers, but I mean, I get that they're worth something, but they just can't just come in and just move everybody to the side.
Well, I think I have to give a point to Mr. Marx on that one.
Yeah. I'm going to ask one in honor of our co-host, Big Money Dodge. Have either of you ever wrestled in Southern California?
I have 3 times.
I'm going to be wrestling in Southern California in August, September, and October this year.
Oh, you're finally getting plane tickets, or you're riding out there on your little freaking.
I just waited for you to get your stale crap out of there so I could go in and put on something fresh.
Oh no, it was more like that. I was stating my foot in there and putting my flag there, so that way you say, "Hey, look, I wrestled where JB did." See, I'm like Neil Armstrong. I landed on the moon before you. See, I mean, I'm just planting flags so you can just, where my footsteps are.
Well, on Saturday you're going to be like Neil Armstrong and no longer around. So
we'll see. Every time as long as I have my moonshine around, there's no losing.
That's because you end up in a fantasy world when you drink something that you don't even know what's in the jug.
Just like that. Look, raspberry moonshine. Gotta, ooh. See? Always.
I'd be scared
always
to drink
prepared.
Whatever's in that cup.
Always prepared.
So when the bell rings on Saturday and you're looking up at the empty sky in Marysville wondering what the hell just happened, I want you to remember that you just said that. Because there's one thing that I think you're better at than drinking, JB, and it's putting your own foot in your mouth.
Well, when I show up at Strawberry Fest on June
Finally.
17th, and I beat you, you're going to have to go and sit your kids down at night and wonder or tell them why the JB Moonshine, the drunkest hillbilly around, is better than me. Yeah.
Or
yeah.
Or would he have to tell his kids how he defeated JB Moonshine as Mr. Moonshine got wheeled off on a toilet again, if you're even good enough to get wheeled off on a toilet at Strawberry Fest?
But that's what it'll be like at midnight when he wakes up and realizes it was a dream.
Really? You think
Yeah.
he's gonna be the one that's dreaming? You're the one that's
Oh,
gonna be
yeah.
drinking the moonshine.
I just think
Oh, yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
hilarious. He thinks I'm going to wake up at midnight. I'm still going to be out partying at midnight. Yeah, you're out of your mind. And I'm going to have two big old heavy straps carrying it with me while I'm celebrating. I'm going to have toasts all over both titles. And instead of moonshine, it'll smell like a reputable booze, like Jameson.
See, after I beat you at Strawberry Fest, you're just going to be the second best champion with the second best belt in CPW. That is what you're going to be, Tris Marks.
Well,
A second. You know what a second is? That's a number 2. And you know what a number 2 is? That's Tris Marks. Number 2.
Very classy.
how about this? On Saturday, after that match, the champion comes on our podcast. Mr. Marks, if that is you, I will congratulate you like the man that I am.
Well, it's got to be better than the welcome you gave me today.
Well, get ready for that speech.
And I might even apologize for the said comments that I did to you this morning. If you can beat Mr. Moonshine.
Well, when I beat Mr. Kris Marks over there, I will be gladly to come on here and tell you guys that you were wrong and you suck.
No.
Because
It'll make you both motion sick with his phone camera again.
I am Team Yvonne. I am Team
oh
Moonshine.
yeah. Besides him, yeah, you two suck. The other one, yeah.
But
The one invited me is cool.
first of all, you're getting me dizzy because you keep circling your
Oh.
house like 10,000 times during the interview.
I'm trying to make you guys feel like or see what it's like with me 24/7. See, now I'm
I
bringing
don't
you
need
into
to
my
know
world.
that.
I'm bringing you into my world. Welcome to JB's place.
No thanks.
Yeah, but I'd rather be in the place of the man that's going to have 2 belts come Saturday and be the true face of CPW.
The only way he's going to have 2 belts on Saturday is because he takes his kid's replica to pretend it's his.
Well, wait, is that what you do? Because he has the belt right now, right? So is that what you do to make yourself feel special now?
Oh no, because I have the belt like in my head, so I know what it looks like, and I already know what it looks like around my waist. It's been around my waist for like the last 3 years.
Well, just cling
So
on to those memories.
I mean, technically, I'm like the
Cling
Roman
on to
Reigns.
those memories tight, because that's
I-
what
I-
we're going to have on Sunday.
I'm the Roman Reigns of CPW. 3 years, you know. I mean, you're not going to beat me.
Ooh.
But one of the last things I'm going to say, because I know Mr. Marks has to get going pretty soon. You're right. I'll give you credit for that. You are the Roman Reigns of CPW. You never defend your title, and when you come to the show, you have to have somebody back you up and help you win.
I've always defended my titles. And it was a lot easier when we had a ring going, but I always defend my title whenever somebody asks. He was supposed, if he would have beat me fairly, he could have earned a title shot just like that. But no, instead he had to bully me, steal my title, hold it hostage, and threaten me, and to get me to help. I mean, what type of champion has to freaking hold my title hostage to get a chance? All you had to do was ask.
What kind of champion loses his belt in the first place? What kind of champion puts himself in that position?
Did they hit him with the wrong pen? Nobody
How's
puts
he
themselves
holding
in
the
that
belt
position.
hostage when he's been at every show where you could have came and tried to get it back?
I
Because
even
I
gave his
have
cousin a chance to get it back, and he couldn't pull that off.
because I don't have the freaking. I have to get air tickets. I live in a different state than they do. I have to, I can't just fly out there every time. And plus, I mean, I have a concussion. I can't be just going into the airplane
Let
with
me
a
see if I can
concussion.
find a notepad to write down all these excuses, because I'm starting to lose track.
Just because you don't know how it is to get, take an airplane to, all these places that I go to. I mean, I'm sorry, I can't. I had a concussion by you. A concussion by you, making it where I wasn't able to go there. So, I mean, technically that was your fault.
So I'm just so I'm clear, we're on a media source right now. So this big breaking news for you guys. Is your excuse for not having been at the shows for the last 3 months and giving me a title shot is because I kicked your ass too badly? Is that the excuse that you're trying to give right now? I was too rough on you, and that's why you couldn't be there? That's why you couldn't show up and be a champion? Got it. I'll make sure to take it easy on you on Saturday so that you can show up from now and tell everybody how sorry you are for losing again.
You kicked me in the nuts and then hit me in the head with a frying pan. There was nothing I can do about that. I mean, I'm pretty sure you get kicked in the nuts often. So
first place and not lost. You could have done that.
Maybe if somebody wasn't afraid to take the slop drop and then kick me in the nuts.
Not afraid of anything, sir. Not afraid.
Apparently, you're afraid of me. That's why you kept me away for 3 months.
You just had a concussion that kept you away for 3 months.
He did. Well, he's the one who kept me away for 3 months because of the concussion.
Now, truthfully, was it the concussion that kept you away, or was TSA not allowing you to get on the plane with that moonshine jug that you supposedly have alcohol in?
Okay, Mr. Noss?
No, that's not why. It was because of the concussion. You cannot go flying in an airplane with, after a surgery or concussion. You get a blood clot. You get, dizzy. You can't do that. I mean, what, do you guys want me to fly and then risk my health over that? I mean, I had to get better.
Sure.
You should be used to being dizzy. You stay in that state
Mr.
90% of the time.
But not under freaking, I mean, I wasn't allowed to fly. The altitude would have hurt me. See, I couldn't fly.
How about this? Mr. JB, how long has it been since you've seen your title?
The last time I saw it was May. This is May, April. It was March.
You're asking him to do math. That's a big ask.
Well, I
did count to 3.
Okay, but I have it on good authority that your title does look good, and it's still the original title that you had, because Mr. Marx has shown it to us.
Well, I've got it right here. I have it right here. I keep it nearby at all times because I like to keep my eyes on the prize. I don't wear it on my shoulder because I haven't earned it yet. I'm not going to claim to be something I'm not. But it's right here. You want to see it? You want to see it, JB? Here you go. Here you go. There you go. It still exists. Get a good mental image of it because this is the last time you're going to see it when it's your property.
Okay. Well, with that being said,
I hope you got your affairs ready. I hope you freaking signed your will. You took care of your children. You make sure your wife is happy. Because when I'm done with you and I put you in a body bag, I don't want to freaking have any people come over here crying to me because I beat up the daddy. So I'm telling you, June 17th, Strawberry Fest. Kris Marx, JB Moonshine for my CPW heavyweight title. And guess what? It's coming back home, Kris. I am going to hurt you. I am going to bring the... You are not even going to... You take your mask off and still not recognize yourself because I am going to hurt you.
And ladies and gentlemen, just before we got that, we have a CPW official in the podcast room. And he did just hear, in fact, Mr. JB Moonshine say that he will defend his title on Saturday, even without a contract being signed. He did hear that. So, with that being said, boys, why don't you separate into your own corners? And on Saturday, why don't you get it on? Because it sounds like it may be official.
It's a long time coming.
Get ready, Chris Marks. We're settling this. 5 years it's been making. We're settling this.
Good. Your irrelevancy is about to end and the torture reign is about to begin.
We're going to see who's irrelevant.
On that note, I want to thank you both for being here. Mr. Marks, I want to say congratulations ahead of time on your victory on Saturday. And JB, don't worry, you can drink your moonshine on Saturday and feel better by the morning, so you'll be all right.
Well,
we'll see. We'll see we'll see what you'll be saying when you realize that you're interviewing me after the match.
With that being said, again, I want to thank both of our guests tonight. Mr. Marks, it's an honor. You know, your military service stands out on its own. I'm sorry you chose the wrong team. Hey, but we can still be friends, right? Because I can let bygones be bygones. I put up with Nathan, and he's Team Jeff, so bygones can be bygones. I like you. You're a great dude.
Well, I'll be eager to hear your apology next week. Let's just put it that way.
JB,
yo,
best of luck to you.
Oh, I'm not the one that needs the luck. But thank you.
As I can say, let the better man win. Team Yvonne,
I will.
Jeff, it don't matter because it's all about wrestling. It's all about entertaining your fans. It's all about what the fans want. And that is why I enjoy being a wrestling fan. Even more so than doing this podcast, I have been a wrestling fan for over 30 years. So, with that being said, let's do some closing. Our first sponsor, Big Money Exchange and the Big Money Compound, doing online classes for $25 or $125 a month online starting in the month of July until he gets a ring, and that'll be in Pullman, Washington. But the online classes are free, or not free, $25, $125 for a month. Yeah, I'm all riled up. This has been a great interview. You can find him on Big Money Exchange, Big Money Compound. Support him. He's a great guy. Miss you, Big Money. Nathan, go ahead and do the last two sponsors.
The second sponsor is the CARE program, which stands for Community Action Reaching Everybody. And to get a hold of the lady that's in charge of that, you can look up Becky Bernhardt on Facebook. And then our last one is Bruce Nichols Painting for all your painting, pressure washing, and lead removal needs. And you can find him on Andy's.
And we will be joining you on Saturday live on the Media Scrum after one of the shows. I'm not sure which show it's going to be yet. It might be both. It might be just one. Boss Lady has not told us yet. But however, we will be interviewing, hopefully one of our interviews will be with either the new CPW champion or the current CPW champion. We will find that out on Saturday.
Oh, don't worry. It'll be with the new CPW champion.
No.
Until then, we will see everybody shortly. Congratulations, both of you, on the match. May the better man win. And a lot of other great matches coming up on Strawberry Fest. And we may not only have the first two-time champion being interviewed on our podcast, because our friend down in Colorado may also become a two-belt also on Saturday. So
Chris will never know what that feeling is. I've known that feeling. Grand Slam, pretty much everywhere I go. Chris, he'll never know that feeling, and he won't know on June 17th.
Keep yakking.
So, on behalf of Nathan, JB, and Mr. Marks, I am Anthony. Nathan, do you want to do any invitations to your show coming up in a year, or would you rather wait?
No, I can do this. So, in about a year, we're going to do a charity or a benefit show for the Special Olympics. And I would be honored to have both of you come up and do that show. I can keep you both updated as it comes more together.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll be definitely interested in it.
So,
Awesome.
Anything to help.
so again, we'll see you guys later. And hey, Nathan, you spit a lot of shit today. So why don't you go grab that nurse and get in that bath, because dude, it's time for your flea dip to make you smell better. Until next time, we'll see you later. And again, CPW Strawberry Fest live on Saturday from Marysville, Washington. Until then, see you guys later.